Late starter Paul Pedersen's first race car was a V8 Tourer, or to be exact, its predecessor, a Trans Am Light. That was just 9 years ago, and to say that the Taupo forestry operator was quickly on the case is a bit of an understatement. Within 4 years, he'd become the New Zealand champion.
Yeah, obviously I started later in life, and whether the single seater, it obviously has an advantage, driving one, two, and then stepping into these things. But I don't know whether it's really. I've done my career really in tin tops, and you learn how to drive them and set them up, and they're not that difficult.
Even in the early days of Trans Am Lights, when it was strictly for Commodores, the thinking was to get to the current Holden versus Ford scenario.
No, we were pushing it early days, and I think there was just too many classes in New Zealand. They just had to realise that, really concentrate on one class, and the Ford Holden make, following on from the V8 supercar success, has really worked in New Zealand. Gary Pedersen worked very hard to get the formula here, and obviously motorsport has recognised that it's a level of motor racing in New Zealand that is quite affordable, and hence why the large fields.
In a spell away from the V8 Tourers, he won the New Zealand Trans Am Championship. Then last year he returned and was runner-up in the V8 title contest. And now, although he so far has fifth place finishes at best, he reckons he's still very much in the title fight.
Yeah, definitely. Like the car is good. We had some trouble at levels. Obviously trouble at Puiko, the V8 supercar meeting, just mechanical and trying to get the cars, I suppose, from being a late build into a race car that's reliable. But we secured points at Timaru, and that's what we needed to do. And I think we're fourth equal at the moment. And there's a long way to go. The car's got some speed here this weekend, so we'll test this morning and qualify this afternoon and see how we go. Realistically, we just have to see what happens in a 3-race scenario on Sunday. It's a long way to go, and we've got another 4 meetings after this. So, we're here to take points, and then the last 2 rounds is when we'll really push.
The field is out on the track, getting warmed up, ready for race 2 here at Teretonga for the Parker NZ V8 touring cars. We still have a big field, although we've lost probably 3 cars out of the 28 that started the day, with accidents and failures in the first race. But I think we're still set for a very, very good race, Greg Brink.
Yes, par for the course with the V8 Tourers, fast and furious all the way through, and there was a bit of carnage in the last one. There's a lot of guys who've done a bit of work, set the cars up a bit different, and they'll be looking for a good result in this race. As
you can see, the weather here at Teretonga holding up very well. It's very windy, but very hot and sunny as well. Few scratches on the side of Aaron Harris's Dynapack car, courtesy of a few little moments in that first race today. And here we go with the start grid. Kane Scott on pole again, with Paul Radisich alongside. Same position as race 1. Andy Booth and Brady Kennett on the second row.
In position 5, we've got Dean Perkins in the Falcon. Alongside him, the second team Kiwi car, Nick Ross. 7th, Angus Fogg. And in 8th, Michael Shepherd.
And in 9th place, we've got the car of Andrew Anderson, the E-frame Commodore, alongside Dale Lambert. Then it's back to Clark Proctor in 11th, and Michael Tom will start 12th.
Mid-pack now in 13th place, Craig Boot in the 3rd Ford Falcon Haviland car. 14th, David Thexton. Ashley Hall in 15th, and 16th, Andrew Fawcett.
Ready for the start now, the packed field coming down the front straight here at Teretonga, waiting for the green light. Kane Scott slowed them down quite a bit. This is looking out the back window of Kane Scott's car, looking at Andy Booth on the right. Brady Kennett beside him, and again, Kane Scott's judged it very, very nicely. Gets off to a good start. Quite a good fight going on just back behind these guys. In about 4th place, as you can see, Brady Kennett out wide, Angus Fogg down the inside.
Paul Radisich charging early this time, right on Kane's tail, unlike the first race where Kane got away at the start.
Yes, he said they were going to make a few changes to the car, and he hoped, he said with a little smile, that they'd be right there. And here he is. Oh, that's Dale Lambert getting edged off the edge of the track there. Oh, and this is the Rat on attack again for the lead, and he's got him by the look of it. Looked like there was a touch there as he went by, and Paul Radisich has got through to the front of the field.
Yes, I'm here to do business this time. That message has gone out loud and clear to Kane Scott, I'm sure.
Well, there was no excuse me's, no beg your pardons, as he took the S's on the infield there that time. Lap 1, and Paul Radisich has got through to the lead.
Looking forward out of Dean Perkins' car, still very tight at the front. Kane Scott will be wanting to get that place back, not used to running second.
No, and he had a wicked turn of speed in that first race. So, oh, in the background, Andrew Fawcett takes a wild ride as he leaves the elbow coming onto the front straight. One of the Caltex Haviline cars off on the outside.
Yes, could have been a touch or maybe just got on the power a little bit early. Here we go.
Looking back at that incident from Wade Henshaw's point of view, yes, well, Wade gets into the back of Fawcett, who seemed to get a little loose coming to the corner. This view from Ashley Hall as he comes through the same corner onto the front straight. As you can see, the Caltex Haviline car rejoins just ahead of him.
It's really hard to keep up with the action here. It's happening right through the field.
Kane Scott right back with Paul Radisich, tucked under the United Video car's back wing. Well, he seemed to lose a bit of ground as they went through the sweep of that time.
And Andy Booth doing a great job there in third. Remember, he's got the ballast on board, so to keep in touch with these guys is good at this point of the race. Mr. Consistency so far for the series.
Here we're going back to the start of the race from the point of view of Michael Tom. Starting midfield, that's Clark Proctor off to the left, gets a good run on him in the Sedgeton's Falcon, but now he slingshots past him, gets right up alongside Andrew Anderson and tucks in behind Dale Lambert.
Now Aaron Harris's perspective of the start, back from 23rd place. Up in front of him, Dave Parsons, and on the left, Mike Perro. Oh, off and on, just trying to keep it together here. Oh, it's hard under brakes. Bit of brake testing going on there by the look of it. That's Wade Henshaw just skipping on the outside.
Meantime, up front, still our race leader, Paul Radisich. And still this fight for second. That's quite tight. Kane Scott running just ahead of Andy Booth. In fourth place, it's Dean Perkins in the GT Radial Falcon. There he is. Sort of a bit in no man's land at the moment.
On board with David Thexton. Oh, and really hot here. And off into the... Oh, he's got it. No, he's lost it. He's off into the dirt. Just going too much speed into the infield S's there.
Yes, it didn't look like he got a helping hand there. Took himself off.
And back on again. He would have lost about 4 places in that small...
Oh, Angus Fogg in the background getting very loose onto the front straight. Now contact with Brady Kennett. Now gets back in touch again.
Bit of experience playing off there. Just kept his foot hard up and came back onto the straight.
Well, it got him in contact with someone else. Paul Radisich using all the road and then some. Kane Scott in second, still taking the pressure. No problem from Andy Booth. Just a little bit of a puff of smoke from the back of the TKR car there.
Yes, Paul's edged out a bit of a lead. On board now with Paul Pedersen, making his way through the field after a DNF of the first race. Down the inside of Michael Wallace. Keeping the power on here. Oh, squeeze, a bit of a touch. Pushing it wide. Will he give him some track room? Yes. Now the key for it is to hold it into the next corner. Yes, he's made his way through. Good driving.
Great stuff. The pictures from inside the Paul Pedersen car as he goes through the infield. Tracking this group here is Brady Kennett in the Parker and Z car. Oh, someone really off wide there, but recovered it.
Yeah, it's a part of the track where you're using it all. Off to the edge, just taking one wheel off. Keeping the power on is always the key there.
No problems with traction. There's Dean Perkins. I think it may have been him, in fact, running just in front of Brady Kennett.
Again, Brady Kennett looking good in this race. Consistent result from the first one. Holding it together again in the second race.
Now has Nick Ross sitting in behind him there in that Team Kiwi Racing, the 777 car. Nick Ross looking for some good performances. Starting to show up well last week at Timaru.
Yes, consistency's paying off for both the Team Kiwi cars so far in the championship. Here's Dale Lambert, head of a procession of about 4 or 5 cars.
Yes, fighting off Michael Shepherd and also the stock car man, or one of the stock car men in the field, Clark Proctor. And look at Shepherd. Nice move down the inside. Oh, he backs out of it. No, he doesn't. He carries on through. Made it stick.
Yeah, gap was opened up and just poked his nose straight inside there. Looks like Clark Proctor's trying to do the same thing.
Proctor in one of the slightly older cars, but he looks in good form here today.
Yes, and only his third V8 touring car race. Finished 11th in the first race and doing a great job here.
Certainly putting the pressure on Dale Lambert at the moment, as Michael Shepherd has already done. In fact, I think he may have just touched Dale Lambert. Certainly got very tail happy, the Mag and Turbo Falcon, as he came onto the front straight. Look at the traffic jam here. We've got 2 of the fast guys starting to come through the field as well, Greg.
Yes, Wade Henshaw charging from the back, right on the tail here of Paul Pedersen. Now in car with Paul Pedersen, charging down the inside of Clark Proctor. Nice cleaved move.
Very fast part of the track. Henshaw trying to make a move down there as well. That's not going to happen. He finds the Falcon blocking his way for the moment, but he'll be very, very keen to get up here to try to make up for that DNF in race 1.
Yes, Clark Proctor under severe pressure here, and he'll be learning all the time amongst these top seasoned veterans in the V8 touring car class.
Pedersen now on attack on Lambert. Wait for it. Oh, no, he missed a gear. He's missed a gear and he's dropped well back behind it. In fact, he's going to get taken back by Clark Proctor and Wade Henshaw. What an opportunity for them.
Just can't afford to make those sort of mistakes in this class, as you just saw there. 3 cars passed.
So now look at the traffic jam again. 2 of the Caltex Haviland cars together. This is Michael Tom's view of things. So Paul Pedersen's been joined by his teammate Craig Booth.
Wade Henshaw still on a charge. Now onto the back of Clark Proctor. Clark closes the door. This is a part of the track where you can actually take a look around the outside. If you're brave, go right round. But in this case, Wade's just going to be patient and hang in behind Clark in the hope that he makes a mistake.
Proctor using the edge of the track as well, just running 2 wheels onto the grass as he goes through the big sweeper. And there is this bit of a traffic jam building up behind him. We're somewhere about halfway through the second of the Parker NZ V8 touring car races here at Teretonga today. A big fight going on back down the field, midfield in fact, between this man Wade Henshaw, who's just made his way through that group, and behind him Clark Proctor, ex-Speedway driver, really holding back a big ruck of cars jammed up behind him.
Yes, this is generally the time of the race when that fitness and concentration element comes in, and the part when generally things can go wrong pretty quickly. But most of these sprint runners are doing a good job at the moment.
Trying to line up behind Clark Proctor, that's Mike Wallace in the Rock FM car, and Paul Pedersen tucked in right behind him.
Yes, good battle going on there for those places. Clark Proctor holding his own at the moment though.
He's doing a good job. Here comes Paul Pedersen down the inside of Mike Wallace into the elbow. Well, they call it the hairpin, it's more like an elbow. And puts the power down as he runs down towards the front straight here.
Back with David Thexton exiting the fast sweeper at the end of the straight, using a bit of the rally driving skills to keep the car on the track.
Yes, just stepping off the edges as he gets the pressure from Ashley Hall right behind him. There's the view from Hall's car. The 2 Falcons pretty evenly matched, running about 14th and 15th place at the moment.
Second place getter, Kane Scott. That gap seems to have separated between him and Paul Radicic. Radicic is on a charge for sure.
And Scott has eased out just a little bit of a gap on Andy Booth in the next spot as well.
Yes, and then behind them, Dean Perkins holding station in 5th place.
The fight really is going on behind these guys as the leader comes down the front straight. Paul Radicic already disappearing down off the other end of it. Kane Scott in the next spot. Still a big fight going on with Dale Lambert fighting off Wade Henshaw. In fact, he's going to get past. Well, is he?
It's Wade Henshaw.
Oh, tough contact and a lock up. Oh, and sliding right across the track just ahead of Clark Proctor. Gets away with it without hitting anybody else, but lost a lot of places.
Replay looking back from Henshaw's car. There's Lambert and there's Henshaw off as well. Both of them losing valuable places.
Henshaw does the better of the 2, I think. Oh, well, maybe not, because that's how they resume side by side again, just ahead of Michael Tom. There's our race leader, Paul Radicic, stretching out the lead on Kane Scott and Andy Booth.
Race winding down now. These guys will just consolidate these positions and hopefully hold on till the end.
Yes, the fight's going on behind them, that's for sure. As we look at Paul Radicic negotiating the infield in the United Video Falcon, took this car over, of course, from Mark Pedersen, who has come down ill with glandular fever.
Yes, and this will be a great morale booster for him. In the last race he had won, it was actually here in New Zealand at last year's Yellow Pages 500.
So Paul Radicic made the comeback, coming to the checkered flag to take this win out. So it'll be Kane Scott 1, Paul Radicic 1 at the end of this. And there it is, Kane Scott coming in 2nd place, Andy Booth in 3rd.
And Dean Perkins in 4th.
This man looks happy about the win.
Paul Radicic, you're a popular man here.
Yeah, well, it just shows you what winning does, doesn't it? But, no, really pleased with that. Kane got the jump at the start, which I knew he would. It's a matter of just hooking him behind, and I got a good run off the sweeper, and as I dove into turn 3 or 4, 3 I think it was, I managed to dive up the inside of him, and he tried to move over, we touched, but I had the inside line, and he gave me a little bit of room and I squeezed by, and that was all it takes, really.
Kane Scott, I figure that all that experience you've got on Trans Ams is helping you control those rolling starts, something wicked. Trouble is, this time Paul Radicic got the jump on you around the back of the track nonetheless.
Gee, I don't know if it was a jump. It was certainly a big bump. Yeah, Paul was a little bit naughty in that race and gave me a fairly good tap. So, He knew what he did, and it's a bit naughty, but he got away with it. Paul knows the rules pretty well in their car, and they put 2 new tyres on in that race, which we aren't allowed to do, but as he's a one-race deal, he gets 2 new tyres. Gave him a fairly good advantage that unfortunately Andy or I didn't have.
Andy Booth, you're not actually winning, but I guess there's only one word that counts for you in this particular weekend. I'll say it 3 times: points, points, points.
Yeah, being conservative is not my nature, but you know, we came into this year, as I've said before, with a game plan. I'm under pretty strict instructions just to collect the points and go for the championship.
We're just trying to stay out of trouble and accumulate points, and say we're already back in the top 3, so hopefully we'll do well last race and yeah, stay there.
Confirming the results then, a Paul Radisich win by 2 seconds ahead of Kane Scott, with Andy Booth coming home 3rd.
In 4th place, Dean Perkins, followed by Brady Kennett in 5th and Nick Ross in 6th.
In 7th place, it's Andy Anderson and his Commodore ahead of Angus Fogg, then Michael Shepherd and Paul Pedersen, his teammate.
Clark Proctor in 11th and Michael Wallace followed in 12th.